Good morning, everyone. Leah Dixon from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia here for my regular weekly Facebook Live. So every Wednesday morning I go live. Every week it's kind of something different. First week of the month is a card class to go. I usually do a Christmas card one week. This week is my one layout, 3 cards week. So I've got a really nice layout for you. I'm going to switch to my desktop so we can really take a look at that, and we'll start crafting. All right, here we go. Fantastic. And as you pop on, if you want to say hi, I love to know who's here and I'm watching along. So these are all the card templates from page 22 in Stampin' Up's Annual Catalogue. And I am using the one that I put right in the center, which is 3 panels and a little image of some kind or sentiment. So that's the layout that we're going to be focusing on this week. I'm just going to put that, actually, I'm going to put it right back where it belongs on my note board. There we go. And let's get started. So the first card that we're going to create today is a really non-traditional Christmas card. Oh, good morning, Kim. Non-traditional Christmas card using the one-of-a-kind stamp set. And the dies that go with it. So this is a really nice bundle, some lovely sentiments. Some of them are Christmassy, some of them aren't. Great for making gift tags. You've got all the stamps, and then I'll just show you, we've got the die, the one-of-a-kind dies that coordinate. You've got 2 different dies. You've got one that cuts out the larger stamped snowflake image, and one that creates your very own beautiful little snowflake in whatever colors you want. So let's get started, and I will show you how I created this card. So let's put that off to the side. And here we go. I've got all my bits here to put together this card. First thing that we're going to do is do some stamping on this smaller piece of cardstock. And I am using, I always get this wrong, Bubble Bath. There we go. Bubble Bath ink is what we're using for this card. So I'm going to open that up. I've got the swirl and all of the smaller snowflakes here on blocks ready to go. We're not going to use the larger snowflake for this card. And what I'm going to do is, I think I'm actually going to start with my swirls, just because they take up the largest space. And I am going to stamp them kind of randomly all over my cardstock. All right. Here we go. Do a few more. And that should be good. All right. Then I'm going to take my largest of the 3 small snowflakes, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp that in now. I'm going to stamp it kind of at the end of my swirls if my swirl didn't go off the page, just to kind of create like an ending point for the swirl, so it's not just a swirl floating in the air. But I didn't stamp that one beautifully. So what we're going to do is come in now with the medium snowflake, and I'm actually going to stamp over where I messed up that one snowflake, so it looks like the 2 are overlapping. All right, and I'm going to stamp a bunch of these in here. This is the medium snowflake. We're being pretty random about this. Actually, I'll do one more down here. There we go. And then I'm going to come in with my smallest snowflake. Any swirls that didn't get a snowflake at the end will get the small one now. And any spots that look like they need a snowflake to fill the gap are going to get one right now. Okay, so fill that in. Fill that in. Down in this little corner. And maybe even one up there. Awesome. All right, so now that we've got our snowflakes stamped everywhere on this piece of cardstock, I'm going to keep my Bubble Bath pink out right now, and I'm going to grab a blending brush. So this is one of our small blending brushes, and we are just going to apply a really light layer of Bubble Bath ink to the whole card front. So I just like to apply this in nice soft swirls. We can go back over spots if we want to make it darker, but when you first start, you want to be really gentle with the touch so you don't end up with like a blotch of pink. All right, add a little bit more here. Okay, so if you want to make this darker, you can. I like how it's just very, very subtle. It will look more pink once we have it on a white background. So yeah, that's all that I'm going to do to that. I'm not going to add any more. So you're probably wondering, because our sketch had 3 panels and then a sentiment or an image. So what we actually have to do now is to cut this down. So I believe, yeah, I cut this nicely at 3 inches. So we have to cut this down, and I am making 1-inch strips now. So I'm just going to grab my paper trimmer and cut it at the 2, and then cut it at the 1. So instead of trying to decorate 3 separate panels, anytime you're doing kind of a panel image, it's always easier to start with your full panel, decorate the whole thing, and then cut them up. Now you can be conscious to keep them in the same order so that everything kind of lines up, or you can turn them around, twist them around, and make them not match up. That's totally up to you. But it's always easier to kind of create a full background as opposed to a bunch of little strips. Okay, so then we're going to take our card base. I do have this card folded in a way I don't normally do, which is with the bottom open. It's not usually my style, but today that's what we're doing because I wanted to be able to tie a ribbon directly around this. I didn't want to add another layer behind my pink strips to be able to create a panel to tie a ribbon on. So we're just tying the ribbon around the whole card. So I have got this, and we're now going to glue our panels directly to our card front. So you really just want to, line them up, top and bottom are equal, and then your 2 sides are equal, and then your middle one, you'll just kind of fit it in so that it's got good lines. So you can spread those out as much as you want. Like you could spread them out so that all the panels are equal, or you could put them in so that you've got very little space between the panels. That's going to be completely up to you. All right, so I've kind of laid them out generally where I want them so that I have a starting point for when I go to glue. And then I'm just going to pick up 1 panel at a time, apply some glue to the back, and put them down again. I never just kind of start gluing without some kind of sense of where I want things. Okay, so I've done that one. I'm now actually going to remove the middle one and get the second one glued down, and then we'll line up on the inside. I just realized I never wiped off my glass top, so hopefully we're not getting pink all over the back of our card. Yikes. Okay, and then our middle one. Okay, so just like that. Okay. Oh, good, our back's clean, but just in case, I'm just going to give this a little wipe. All right, so we've got our panels onto the front of our card now. Now we can tie our ribbon, and then we'll start working on our kind of focal point. Oh, good morning, Gail. Thanks for joining. So I have got here the striped trim. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous ribbon. And actually, I meant to go online and check to see when it was going to be back in because it was out of stock for a little while. I do know, though, if it's still out of stock, it's coming back soon. So sorry that I forgot to go check on that. It may actually already be in. I feel like a bunch of stuff was coming in the week of the 21st. So I'm just going to cut that so that kind of as it's been wrapped around, I've got 2 equal ends kind of hanging off the side. That's what I'm going to use to tie my bow. And I'm going to put my ribbon back up on the shelf. Maybe. Oh, it's not wanting to go in. There we go. All right. So I'm going to put my 2 ends together. I'm not too worried at this point where my knot ends up. I just want to have 2 equal ends after I have tied my knot on my card front. So I've just wrapped this around the front of the card. So just around the front panel, and I've tied a knot. Now that I've got a nice tight knot, I can decide where I want this, and I want it quite far over. I want it like almost at the edge of my last panel. And then I'm going to make 2 little bunny ears. Oh, I might have almost cut this too short. That's okay. We'll make it work. Wrap those around and then fiddle with it to get it pulled tight. So I keep kind of pulling it, making bows, and then shrinking them up and then pulling some more. That's going to allow me to make a nice tight bow, but with small bow ends like I want. And then once that's done, I can come in and trim up the ends of my ribbon so that they are the length I want them to be and cut on a little angle like I want them to be. There we go. All right, so now that we have our ribbon tied, we can decide if we like that height or if we want to lower it down. It's not attached really, it's just tied around. So I'm going to lower that down just a tiny bit. And now our card is kind of like in 3 sections. And then I am going to start on my sentiment and my image. So I'm going to put this off to the side while we do that. So I have got a piece of silver foil here. And we're going to use that super fancy snowflake die that we've got. I love these little ones because I can pop them into my mini machine here and it all works out well. So, all right. So we'll pop that on and I'm just going to fiddle it around until all my edges are on my square. There we go. And roll it through. Okay, so now that we've got that done, we'll pull this off. I'm going to put that die right back into the case. All right, and then we're going to peel this up. There we go. And I'm going to need my take a pick tool to actually lift this off my board. I'm using kind of an older board, and so things get a little stuck to it. All right. Then we just want to make sure that all the bits pop out of our holes. Awesome. So let's clean that off. There we go. So one way that I clean off my board is when little bits are stuck on it, I take my top plate and I actually just scrape over it straight into my recycling bin, and then it's cleaned up. All right, so we've got our little snowflake here, and then I have pre-cut a bubble bath circle, and this is using one of our stylish shaped dies, circle dies. So the 3rd smallest stylish shaped circle die is what we've used for this little circle. I love just having these kind of on hand. So you can use any adhesive you'd like. Use mini glue dots. You could have even, I should have, used an adhesive sheet on the back of this. So this would be like a little sticker to stick down onto my circle. But instead, I've just used a few little dots of glue in the center. And I'm putting that down on my circle. So I haven't even really secured the edges of my snowflake. It's not a big deal. It's going to stay put. And I put that straight onto the bubble bath pink circle. With that done, I can throw some dimensionals on the back of this. And let's see, I'm going to find an open pack. Okay, I seem to just have minis right now, so that's what I'll use. And I'm just going to put them kind of on like top and bottom, I guess, so that they won't touch the ribbon. And I'm going to go like that, peel those off, and I'm going to bring this down and pop this on. And so I'm going to do it just slightly off center, if that makes any sense. I want the longer points on my snowflake not to run parallel with my ribbon. I want to actually be able to see all 3 points when I put my sentiment strip across here. All right, now we're going to set that off to the side again, and we're going to grab, this is literally just a scrap of paper. It's, I'm not even sure. Oh yeah, it's 1/4 of an inch wide. Like it's itty bitty, teeny tiny. I'm going to take my embossing buddy and just run over it to get any oils off of it. Oh, I just bent that end. So this was literally just a scrap left over from another project that I grabbed, and we're going to do some stamping on it. So then I'm going to use my Versamark ink and the sentiment, thank you for your kindness, from the one-of-a-kind stamp set. So like I said, there are some Christmassy sentiments in here, but there's also just like some regular everyday sentiments. So I loved the thank you for your kindness. We're going to grab that. Oh, frozen on your end. I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, hi, Ramona. Thanks for watching. And then I do like to stamp these kind of vertically. I find it easier to line these up. So I could have stamped this off to one end, and then I would have had probably enough space to do 2, but I had bent one end. So I just stamped it right in the middle where I could hold it down. All right. Now I'm going to grab some white embossing powder that I keep right in my tray. I use it so much that I don't even bother putting it away. I keep it in the tray that came with my embossing additions kit. A little ridiculous, I know, but I find I emboss a lot more because it's so easy. All right, and then I'm just going to wipe up any excess. And I do have one little grain of embossing powder, and I feel like bringing in that big brush is going to be too much. So I'm going to bring in my take your pick tool and use the pointy end to literally just lift it off the card. All right, fantastic. So now I've given myself 2 really long ends to hold on to, so I probably don't need my tweezers. But if you're doing this with a smaller piece of paper, the Embossing Additions kit comes with tweezers to hold on to this as well. I don't need them because I've gone a bit crazy and left these wide ends. So we're just going to heat this up now. Okay, there we go. So some of you may be wondering, I've heat embossed right on top of my glass mat here. It's warm to the touch, but this glass is actually specially designed to be able to withstand that. So I'm not worried about wrecking it or warping a surface of my table or anything like that. So it's one thing that I really love about Stampin' Up's glass mat is that it is heat resistant like that. So if you don't have one, they are available. It's a great thing actually to add into a starter kit if you're looking to kind of boost up your crafting supplies and had ever thought about joining my team. Now you can get $206 worth of stuff in your kit for just $135 Canadian. So it's a fantastic deal, better deal than usual, and it's usually a pretty good deal. So yeah, that's just something that you could add into your kit, is this gorgeous glass mat. All right, so I've just trimmed the ends now of my sentiment. Oh, hi, Evelyn. Thanks for joining us. I know, isn't it such a beautiful color, Ramona? All right, so now the last thing we're going to do is take this sentiment and we're going to just put it right across the top of our snowflake. So I am actually going to do that with dimensionals. So I'm actually going to put my sentiment upside down to start with. Grab those mini dimensionals again. It's probably why they're the only ones I could find, is because I brought them out for this. Oh, actually, you know what I'm going to do though? I'm not going to use white ones because this is a black background and I always forget that I have these. Is Stampin' Up! Actually sells black dimensionals, and in your pack you get full-size dimensionals and little ones. I know, Kim, it's been a long time since, oh, you're probably talking to Evelyn saying a long time no see. It's been a long time since I've seen you too. You should come on out to one of our classes. See you in person for once. All right, so I'm going to actually use the black ones on the back of this. That way, if I don't get them perfectly lined up, I'm not going to see like this little white thing peeking out from behind. It's just going to blend in really nicely with my black cardstock. So such a great idea, especially around Halloween time when you're doing Halloween designing. So now I'm going to take this and put this right on top. Fantastic. All right. I know the timing can be hard, Evelyn. I mean, you're in another country and then those pesky day jobs of ours, right? Always getting in the way. All right, so now we could be finished. In fact, when I originally designed this card, I was finished. But then I decided I wanted to add some more bling to it. So I decided on the iridescent adhesive back discs. So they're just super fun. We've got berry burst. We've got like this iridescent, like pinkish yellow one. We've got a green one, and then like a bluish green one. And I've got a little extra here. I go through a lot of these. And so I'm just going to grab 3 of these and pop them on. Now I decided to go subtle with the pink on pink, but you could do a flash and do the berry burst on here, and I think that would look gorgeous too. But I'm going to keep mine really, really soft and subtle. I guess it really depends on who you're giving the card to as well. Some of my friends are very flash pop kind of people. So there we go. That is our first card completed. Now I do love to decorate my envelopes. So I did the same technique that I did on that background, but I did it on my envelope flap. So I just stamped swirls and snowflakes and used the embossing or the blending brush to add a little bit of pink to that flap to really kind of matchy it all. So kind of a fun thing to do. For this card, I'm going to be a little more boring. I'm just going to grab our bubble bath. I'm not going to decorate that whole flap. Instead, on the front side here, I'm just going to come in with one little swirl and add a couple snowflakes around it. So you can go kind of all out and do that full flap, or just be a little more subtle and put a few on the front. All right, so that is our first card using this layout. I'm going to put those off to the side. All right. Get myself organized here. Okay, so now our second card. So all 3 of my cards today actually have embossing on them, I've realized now. Apparently, I was really into the embossing. Hey, Janice. So this is created using a stamp set from last year's mini. It's now in our annual catalog called Merriest Trees. And then there are dies that coordinate with it as well. But actually, I'm looking around and I don't see my dies. So I wonder, oh, I did. I pre-cut my tree for this one. So the dies in this die kit will cut out all the possible sizes of this tree. So like each of the layers plus the whole thing. It cuts out the one tree that's big enough for our sentiment. It cuts out the stars. And then it also it cuts out the gifts. And then it has some other pieces that kind of are like additional accents that you can add on to your tree. So I apparently didn't bring out the whole thing because I just needed the one tree. So there we go. So this is what we're going to do. Just like on our last card, I have got my layer to create my 3 panels in the background, but I am actually going to decorate them, in this case, emboss them all at once. So I'm actually not going to go grab my big machine though. I'm going to go off screen for a second and go grab it and just do this off out of the scene. But I am using the Snowflake Sky 3D embossing folder. So I'm going to take my piece here. I'm going to pop it in, and I want that one snowflake to be one of my top corners. So I'm going to line it up so that I've got that little snowflake right in there. And then I'm going to go run this through my machine. So I'll be right back. My big machine's just too big for my little desk, so I keep it in its own space in my craft room. All right. There we go. So with that run through, we're going to pull this out. We've got our beautifully embossed piece here now. And just like I did with the last one, I'm going to grab my paper trimmer and trim this up into 3 strips. Oh, what a great question, Kim. Yeah. I wish we had a break right now. All right. Take that one up. Move this over. And there we go. So we're just trimming that up into 3 pieces to attach to our card front. Autumn holidays. Oh, we don't really have autumn holidays. We have a day off. It was 2 weeks ago now, I think, for Thanksgiving. But it's just a singular day, not full on autumn holidays. So that would be nice. Okay. Actually, I do believe, though, from talking with my cousin who lives in Edmonton, I think they take what's called Reading Week around this time of year. And I really wish we would. All right. So again, just like I did on the first card, I've lined these up so that they're kind of spaced the way I want them to be. Oh, I'm a little off my screen. Sorry. I've lined them up, and now I'm going to go ahead and glue them down. What's the weather like right now? Is it kind of a nice holiday where you can get outside and enjoy things? Or is it getting a little too chilly and too much precipitation? Like, I would not want to be outside on holidays actually at this time of year here. All right. There we go. So I've glued that one down. Now I'm going to go glue the other side down. And then I'll do my middle one. Okay. Oh, thank you, Kim. So glad you're on here. I love it when you guys come on and chat with me, chat with each other. It's awesome. All right, I'm actually going to move that one over just a tiny bit. There we go. All right, and now I'm going to glue in my center one. That might not be as centered as I wanted it. Oh, well. C'est la vie. We're going to put things on top. You won't really notice that it's not as centered as I wanted it. Okay. There we go. So we've got our background. This one's a much more subtle background because it's just that embossing piece. Then we are going to grab a piece of ribbon or twine. In this case, I'm using the red and white baker's twine. So that lovely peppermint look. And I am wrapping it around. 3 times. So many times. Okay, and then when I tie my knot, I'm actually going to tie it so that it went under and loops all 3 layers kind of together so they pinch in one spot. Now, if that's not exactly where I want it, which it's not, I just give it a little bend and scooch it over. Okay, so for this one, I want it kind of lined up with the inside of that far left panel. Oh, sunny afternoon and 15. Oh, that is beautiful. That is a great time of year to have off. I love 15. It's warm enough you can go out without a jacket, but probably you want like a nice autumn sweater. It's perfect. Okay, so I've tied my little bow there. And now I'm going to just trim up the ends. Just in case I frayed any ends, or in this case, I've got one end that's longer than the other one. Oops. There we go. So just trim that up. And now we're ready to decorate our tree and add it to our card front. So I'm going to put this off to the side. Our next holidays, we have one day off in November for Remembrance Day, and then we will get Christmas holidays. Well, not everybody gets them, but schools will get the Christmas holidays starting, I believe it's December 17th or 18th, whatever the Friday is, before Christmas. So we've got a little ways to go. All right, so I just use my embossing buddy on here again. And, well, not again, it's the first time I've used it on this one, but just like I did on our last one for embossing. Now I'm going to grab my Versamark, and I have the sentiment. This is like the reason I bought this set, is it's got the sentiment, "We wish you a Merry Christmas," and it's all nice and scripty and fits in this tree. And it's honestly, it's my most used part of this entire suite. I just cannot get enough of it. So I'm going to stamp that with the Versamark, the lid on that. And then I'll lift that up, put that to the side. I'm going to grab my white embossing powder again. And I'm going to just run this underneath. So because it's cut out, it's a little bit harder to pick it up and get it to go over top of the sentiment, but you could just pour directly over top and then you wouldn't have any of that issue. Okay, and we'll tap off any extra. Use the brush or take a pick tool if we need to. I need my take a pick tool. I can get a little picky when it comes to my embossing. I really don't like to see embossed dots speckled around my words. Okay, and there we go. And now for this one, I definitely will be using the tweezers because I don't want to burn my fingertips. All right, so just come in here, we'll hold that with our reverse tweezers, and we will heat this up. There we go. So I've got that all embossed now, and it's ready to go onto our card. So I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to put some dimensionals on the back. So I'm going to do, oops, I just peeled off my backing. What is happening? Okay, I am dimensional challenged this morning. My goodness. All right. Okay, there we go. That was weird. All right, 2 down at the bottom, 1 up at the top, and we'll peel these off. There we go. And I'm going to attach this to my card front over top of my ribbon and tuck that underneath if I want, or let it go across the words. It's kind of going to be your choice. I think I'm actually going to let it go up on my card, kind of sideways. Like that. Fantastic. And then I put my embellishments somewhere. There they are. I'm going to use the same embellishment pack as I used on the last card because I totally forgot. Hiding up underneath the flap on them are our reds. Halloween is a kind of festive day in Germany. Oh, that's awesome. I'm not a huge Halloween fan, but I love it at school. Seeing the kids' costumes. We do a little dance party parade thing in the gym in the morning, and it is just so much fun. All right, there we go. So I've embellished my card front using the red ones from that same iridescent adhesive back discs pack. And that is our second card all done. Now, if you wanted to do something fancy with your envelope, you can also emboss your flaps. So you just put them clipped under your, well, where did I put that embossing folder? Did I leave it over there? No, I brought it back over. So you can just grab your embossing folder and either put it in at the end like that or along on the side like that, and go ahead and emboss those snowflakes right onto your flap. So kind of nice that way. Oh, that's awesome, Evelyn. All right. Now our third card, I think, is my favorite. I'm a little bit obsessed with this tiny gingerbread house. And so again, we're doing embossing to create that gingerbread house. You guys are going to love this. So it's from the Humble Home stamp set. I really love this because it's Christmassy, but it's also just like, thank you for coming or welcome home. Thank you for the sweet gift. So it's like a great housewarming gift or a great thank you card. Just so many options for this one. Yeah, I just absolutely loved it. And it works with a punch as opposed to a die, which I always think is super, super cool. I love using my punches. All right, so there's all of our stuff to create this card. Oh, that's weird. I didn't put my ribbon in there. Oh, no, my ribbon's there. Okay, good. I have everything. So same deal as before. We're going to start by gluing down our 3 pieces. However, this time, my pieces, I'm not going to create them. I've just cut them out of designer series paper. So this is from the Take a Bow or Take a Bow. And I think it's a little play on words. So take a bow, but it's to be used, like they designed it to use it with the bow making dies. So kind of neat that way. Now where did my little paper go about it? I don't know where it is right now. So it's really fun little designer series paper. Oh my goodness. So for those of you who don't know, I reorganized my craft room the other weekend, and now I can't find anything. In fact, right now I can't even see where I've put my 6x6 designer series paper, which is what this package paper is. It's a bit crazy. I went a little too in depth when reorganizing my craft room. I've got to relearn everything. All right, so we're going to put that there. I'm going to put this one down. All right. So I would love to show you this whole paper pack, but that's not going to happen. Oh, the embossed flaps are awesome. They really are. All right, so now let's see. That looks pretty even to me. Okay, and then we're going to do our centerpiece. And so this pack is all red and greens and white and just stripes and polka dots and holly and just really fun patterns. So we love it. All right, so we've got that glued down. Now we're going to take our ribbon. This is such a beautiful one. This is the shaded, I think it's shaded spruce. Yep, shaded spruce satin and sheer ribbon. It's gorgeous. And so same thing as before, kind of pull off as much as you think you're going to need. I'm going to give myself a little bit extra this time because I don't think I gave myself enough last time. All right, so just like that. And then we're going to put our two ends together and we're going to start by tying a knot. Now, whoops, I've got this around the whole card though. You just want that around the card front. Whoopsie daisies. All right, so bring this in and tie a knot. I do find the knot is really important. It allows your bow to sit the way you want it to sit, as well as meaning that you don't have to work too hard to keep everything in place while you create the bow. All right, I'm going to move that over again so it's just in line with the inside edge of that first panel. And then I'm going to make my two bunny ears. Wrap one around the other. This is a bit of a thicker ribbon, so have some patience. And then we just kind of wiggle and twist and turn until our bow is sitting the way we want it to. So for this one, I do have the two ribbon ends kind of going up and down. That's purposeful. I didn't want a big ribbon kind of sitting flat beside my house. All right. And I'm quite happy now with that size. Make sure it's tight enough. And then I'm going to trim up my two ends. Oh, I know. Humble Home is such a great one. All right. There. Okay. Now, I'm going to put the lid on my glue. I'm done with my glue. And now we're going to do our stamping and create our little image to go on this. So I have got a basic white circle. And again, this is cut this time using the second largest stylish shaped circle die. I actually keep a whole stack of this and the largest one in basic white, like just pre-cut and ready to go. I actually, when my kids are looking for some extra money, I'll just ask them to go downstairs and use the machine and cut me more circles. I love having them just ready to grab and go. Now, did I do? Oh, I did. Okay, so now I'm going to take the Merry Christmas and I'm going to stamp it as low as I can on my circle using, I want to say real red. Yeah, real red. So real red was our color. There we go. So I've got that stamped down at the bottom. Now this little circle can now go straight onto our card front. So I'm going to grab some dimensionals and do that. So again, some dimensionals kind of down near the bottom, so they'll be below the ribbon, and then up above, so they'll be above the ribbon. But I don't want to get these on the ribbon because then it gets kind of lumpy and bumpy. Okay, so with that, I am going to bring this in so that those dimensionals are below and so that my Merry Christmas sits like flat or like horizontal. So my words are going horizontally. Awesome. Okay. And then we get to create our little house. So I have a piece of early espresso cardstock here. And I'm just going to go over it with my embossing buddy. And just wipe up the excess. There we go. So I've gone over it with my embossing buddy. You'll notice that this is way larger than I probably need. That's just because I don't like having to fiddle around with punches and try and hold on to the cardstock and fit it into the punch and everything. So now I'm going to ink up my little house with a Versamark. And I'm going to stamp him off to one side. Whether you do your left or your right, that's going to be completely up to you and what you feel comfortable with. I'm doing mine to the right-hand side. And then I'm going to dip this through my white embossing powder. So I've used white embossing powder on all of mine so far today. It's part of our basics, Wow Basics embossing kit. There we go. Now I'm going to get my Take Your Pick tool again and just come in, and there's one little stray one in the window I don't like. A little stray one up there, and right there. All right, so now that I've cleaned it up, we can go ahead and heat it up. There we go. Oh, you're in Washington State, Ramona. That's awesome. That's nice and close to us. I actually have an aunt and a cousin who live just in Washington State. Fantastic. All right, so we've got our little house heated up now, all melted. And now we're going to grab the Humble Home Punch. I love to use these upside down. So I flip it upside down, I unlock it, and then I've got that nice handle to hold on to. And I can come in here and line this up. So I've got a nice border all the way around. And now I can squeeze this and it creates my little house. Now I also end up with a little chocolate brown heart that, let's be honest, I probably won't use. I'll just I've got a little bin of craft stuff for my students, and we can do that. Now I realized I could have maybe made this a little bit bigger. It might actually be big enough. Oh, it is actually. So I could actually stamp this house again upside down, and then I can use this as a handle to cut out my other one. So if you make this maybe just a tiny bit bigger, then you don't have to squeeze it in as much. So just kind of a nice tip for doing that. Oh, well, they're not that cheap, let me tell you, Kim. I pay them $15 an hour. But I mean, I guess the alternative is I just have to listen to them begging for money. So this way, at least they're doing something to earn it. All right. So yeah, it's funny. I have also learned which kids have, the ability to die cut, which kids can actually cut cardstock for me and score it and create my bases. Because like I keep basic white card bases pre-scored in both directions. So I have the hamburger and the hot dog cards. I keep those stacks of those on the side of my desk ready to go. And some of my kids are capable of doing that and others not as much. All right. And now the final thing for this card is I'm going to cover up, you don't have to, but I am going to cover up the little heart on the door with one of our peppermints. So I'm actually going to use the largest peppermint. The medium one works as well, but I seem to have excess large ones. So we're going to use the large one, and I'll put that on the door just to make it extra Christmassy. And that is our third card for today, all done. I mean, I'm sure you could find a way to use the iridescent dots on here, but I'm just so in love with the peppermints. So let's bring back our 3 cards, 1 design, 1 layout, 3 cards. Here we go. Just move that out of the way. So there are our 3 cards using today's layout. I hope you guys like that. I hope you're finding inspiration in the catalog the way I am. I just find every time I look through there, I'm finding more ideas, and those layouts are just a lifesaver when I go to craft and I'm not really sure where to start. I just know which stamps that I want. I just go to one of those layouts and start from there. And sometimes it ends up looking like the layout, and sometimes it takes a completely different twist, but at least it got me crafting. Oh, thank you so much, Ramona. Yeah, so I will have the PDF for these cards available in my newsletter that I will be sending out tomorrow. So if you have not signed up to receive my newsletter, the link to that is in the description of this video. I send out the replay every week of my Facebook Live. And then for like these one layout 3 cards, I do send out a printable PDF that has the dimensions of different things and the colors and everything that I used. And this week I have a special as well that, well, all the time for a $65 order placed with me, you get my Crafty Collaborations tutorial. This month it's, I think, 37 different projects using current Stampin' Up! Product. You get that with a $65 order. And this month, or this week, well, probably really till Halloween, with a $75 order, I'll also be sending out an embellishment. I do have some of the iridescent discs that we used on today's card, so that'll be my first embellishment that I send out. And if I run out of those, then we'll find something else current to mail out to you guys as a thank you. That's for a $75 order. So thanks so much for joining me. If you don't live local and can't place an order with me, I do also have a lot of my PDFs available on my blog, stampinwithleah.ca, under class tutorials or classes to go. And yeah, you can check those out. Oh, thank you so much, Kim. I'm so glad that you guys enjoyed the cards, and I will see you again next Wednesday. Yeah. So have a wonderful week. And if you're here in BC, stay dry. And we will chat soon. Bye-bye.